How you doing, guys? DJ AJ101 here, and I'm here today with a review for you of the Guardian Maximus, the 3 TB Guardian Maximus I got from MacSales.com, Otherworld Computing, great site for all your Macintosh hardware needs. I know they offer a lot of stuff from RAM to hard drives to, well, basically things like the Guardian Maximus. Now, what does it do? The Guardian Maximus is actually RAID 1 built into an enclosure with 2 hard drives. So which basically means is RAID 1 is redundancy. So whatever's written to one hard drive is written to another hard drive in this one little enclosure that I have basically right here. So which means you have redundancy in your backup. So which means if one of the drives fails, your data is actually redundantly backed up to both drives. It's a mirrored fashion, which is RAID 1. So whatever you're putting on one is written to the other. And if one of those drives happens to fail, later on down the line, it's actually pretty easy. You just pop out the existing drive that had failed, pop in a new drive, it'll reformat it, and rebuild the RAID 1 RAID, which means that everything will be redundantly backed up once again. So which basically means is that if one drive fails, you always have your data to back up from that secondary drive. Now, hardware-wise, this thing is pretty nice. As you guys can see from the front of it, it almost looks like a Mac Pro, mini Mac Pro-like design, except it's all black. And at the bottom, it has 4 indicator lights. It has power HDD1, which is your hard drive number 1, HDD2, which is hard drive number 2, and rebuild. And of course, these lights light up as the drives are being used and written to and read from. So, which basically means that one of these drives fails, one of the lights will turn red. It'll say you should rebuild the array. You pop out the drive and you pop it back in, it rebuilds it. And of course, this thing has a plethora of hookups, all the way from USB 3.0, which offers, I think, up to like 5 gigabits per second, which also has an eSATA port. So if you have an eSATA on your computer, you can plug it right into there. You'll get 3 gigabits per second, nice and quick. 2 FireWire 800 ports for those ultra high-speed connections that are plug and play on a Mac, and also 400 for your legacy FireWire, and also a power. And not only that, a power and on-off switch, and also a little lock there, so you can tie it down if you don't want anybody to steal it. And of course, a fan to keep it cool, sucks air in from the front, blows it up to the back, no problem. Now, how would you get this thing apart, you're asking? You're like, well, it looks pretty robust in the front and the back. How do I get it apart to replace it? And actually, if you look underneath the enclosure itself, it almost looks like a Mac Pro. It's got 2 little kind of like feet on that are kind of designed like the Mac Pro is, kind of like a little half loop. So it sits on those feet, and as you guys can see right below it, there's actually 4 screws in it. You would pop out those 4 screws, and the front of the enclosure actually pops out of it, so you can basically rip the drive right out and put the new one in. No problem. I haven't done that yet, haven't had to do it yet, thank God, because it's only been a month. But I would say if one of the drives fails, it looks to be pretty easy. And if that ever does happen, I will make sure to give you guys a video on how to replace a blown drive in your enclosure. But I hope that doesn't happen anytime soon. And if it does, I will give you guys a video. But anyways, what are my thoughts on this enclosure? Well, you know, using it, it's been extraordinarily good, especially with that USB 3, which has really helped me out. I know on my old Lacy hard drive, which was basically 2 1 terabyte drives rated together in RAID 0, I always thought that would be a little bit quicker, but I noticed that with my MacBook Air, and maybe it's just because the drive was getting older and one of the drives was failing, that the USB really took a long time to connect to the MacBook Air, especially trying to play my music. It basically took probably 5 minutes just to see the drive through USB 2. With this one, no problem at all. It's nice and quick. You plug it in, it's probably on your desktop within 10 seconds, if not shorter. And the USB 3, I think, has a lot to do with that. Even though none of the Macs have USB 3 compatibility built into them, I think USB 3 might be speeding up a little bit and actually pushing more info into that USB 2 port on my MacBook Air. That could be, that's just my theory, but it comes up much quicker through USB, which I always thought was quite slow and actually has not lagged whatsoever, playing my huge mass storage library of music that I hold on this thing. It's nice redundancy to have it backed up in this enclosure. Definitely helps me out a little bit better than the Lacy, or if it all failed, I was pretty much toast for the night. So because then I wouldn't be able to DJ. But what I think about this thing, besides the USB port, it's really solid. It's probably the best built enclosure I've ever seen. I've always been impressed from Otherworld Computing's hardware-wise, as far as their enclosures on their hard drives. They've always been really well built, and they've been built like a tank, so you feel like you can actually bump this thing around a little bit without actually breaking it, which can't be said for all hard drive enclosures. Maybe those pocket drives that look like they're metal, and some of it's plastic. This thing is all metal, front to back, which is really nice. And not only that, it looks like it can last a long time, and I hope it does last a long time. because it was quite expensive. I think I picked it up for about 500. It's actually a little bit more expensive now. I just checked out the site. But if you're looking for a great backup solution, and honestly, I can't recommend this enough for maybe just parents or people out there that are holding important work documents, you know, photos, pictures, videos, home movies. If you're looking for a great backup solution and you want it redundantly backed up on site by your computer, this is probably the best way to do it. You know, from all the video and photos that you shoot from your cameras, you can always have them backed up in here. So if anything ever does go wrong with one drive, you always can be reassured that that backup is being rewritten to that second drive. And so if anything ever fails, you pop that drive out, you pop a new one in. I've said that enough times. It looks pretty easy. And you can always be reassured that your data is all backed up in that one safe, secure location. So I give it 2 thumbs up. I think it's a great drive. It's performed beautifully for me for the first month that I've had it, and I hope to have many more years of success with this guy, at least in this Guardian Maximus in particular. But anyways, I want to throw it back to you guys. What do you guys think? Do you have any questions? Do you think you're going to get one? Do you already have one? Has it worked as well for you as it has for me? I'd love to hear responses. Leave a comment in the video, or please feel free to send me a personal message, and I'd be happy to respond with your questions, and I love to see your feedback. If you'd like to rate, comment, and subscribe to me, I would appreciate that. It does help me out. And anyways, that's about all there is for me. If you guys want to do that, feel free. But anyway, guys, this has been DJ AJ 101 here, and this has been my review of the Guardian Maximus, the 3 terabyte Guardian Maximus. Have a good one till then, guys.